metallic parts of it.
Which unit shift you just saw the light?
Right. The first, it was a completely clean cut light. There was no fog to it or anything. It was a beautiful brilliance to it. It was clear. And as though it was setting on it, or as though this suspended it or whatever happened. I don't know what piece of it. But when it would go past us on the south side, and then start back, when you look out, you can get the same angle only from the other side of this ship, or whatever you want to call it. But that's the metallic part that you can see. You see it very plain, and it's like a aluminum pot that's been used for a while. It's definitely a silver color, but it wasn't like chrome or anything. It's silver color, but it wasn't polished silver. You know, it's like a smoky silver. You know, it's a dull silver, or whatever you call it, gray silver. You can see it very plain.
I'm going to try.
Well, it seemed like the nose part of this thing, like when it was going, it seemed like this, when it was going forward, the nose part would be down, and like the light part of this outer rim here, the center of it, was reflecting up on it against the face part. It seemed like if you wanted to go forward, it would go at an angle like this. If you wanted to go straight up, it would level out. And then to go to the right, just like it's going to make a right angle, it was just like a spin.
Did you ever do this?
No, it never started.
In zigzag?
It was all beautiful maneuvers. They were clean. There was no washout in them at all.
Ever go up or down, sideways?
They made climb for altitude in Canfield. When we first seen it, it climbed for altitude to about 500 feet. It maintained that for quite a while. We got over Berlin Reservoir, and it went up some more. I'd say probably picked up another 250, 300 feet. It went to the north side of the road the last time. When we got to Canfield, it went up to about, I'd say pretty close to 2,000 feet, because it was getting up there pretty good. After it cleared the area of Canfield over the city part, and the outskirts when we were going through it, it came back down going into Indiana County to about, I'd say 1,500 feet, maybe 1,000, 1,500. Right along there, by then we covered quite a bit of ground. And I suppose right along that area, this time about 1,000 or 1,500 feet is where we picked up the other car, in Houston. No, sir. This was out East Palestine. This was the second car.
Would you two gentlemen mind leaving for a few minutes? I can tell you all he knows that. When you gentlemen first saw this thing, how low was it on the ground?
Well, when we first seen it, actually it came up behind us. See, Bob radioed first. They make a long story short. Summit County Sheriff's Office radioed. We have, it's all 3958 and we were on monitor all traffic in my car. And Bob was talking to Summit County, and Summit County told him that this object had been seen, and the lady had just called in and said there was this real huge bright object, higher than a street light and lower than an airplane. And you get quite a few calls in the police business. And actually, we were working on a traffic accident. We had just finished the reports, and we paid not very much, very little attention to it, if any. And I heard Bob tell the other operator, the lady must have drank too much, forget it. So we finished up, and the men from the power company, they're handling the hot wires on the line that had been torn down. We went down to a restaurant at the corner of Deerfield and picked up 3 cups of coffee. We came back up and gave the man in the power truck a cup of coffee since it was pretty cool out. And we each had one and we were drinking as we went. You know, we just tear a hole in the plastic lid so that you can kind of sip as you go along. And while we were sitting there talking to him, well, there was more traffic than the radio company. Excuse me. And so the guy in the truck, he made a couple of comments, you know, and I said, well, maybe the moon's changing, you know, somebody, weird ones are out tonight, something to this effect. And so we started east on 224. We were going to come over to the Brimfield Margaret area, which we have a lot of businesses, shopping plazas, a couple, 3 banks and stuff that we keep a pretty close eye on. We control all the buildings. So we were starting back across 224, and we got about 1.5 miles or 2 miles east of 183 on 224, and we passed an old Ford, the side road, 59 Ford, and so I told him we'd best check it out. We went up the road, we made a U-turn, came in behind the car. We both, at this point, this is all standard work. I mean, it's the same with any department. He gets out the right side, I got out the left side. He goes to the right front corner of the cruiser, which is where he stops, sort of an insurance policy. I got out the left and I went to the left rear of the other vehicle. I turned to make just a sort of visual observation of the area to make sure nobody walked in the woods, you know, to take a leak or something. And I always look behind him, so no one can come up behind me. And when I looked in this wooded area behind us, I saw this thing. At this time it was coming up. And there was a slight raise there. It went up to about treetop level, I'd say about 100 foot or less. It started moving towards us. At this time he's still looking straight ahead. As it came over the trees, I looked at Marty and he was still watching the car. I mean, the car in front of us. And he didn't say nothing, and the thing kept getting brighter, and the area started getting light. And I looked at Barney, he's still not saying anything, and I told him to look over his shoulder. And so he did, and he didn't say nothing. He just stood there with his mouth open for a minute, and as bright as it was, and he looked down. And I started looking down, and I looked at my hands, and my clothes weren't burning or anything, and it stopped right over top of us. The only sound in the whole area was a hum. And it just changed a little bit. It wasn't anything screaming or real wild. And, but you sound like a transformer being loaded, or the overloaded transformer when it changes.
Like an AC hum, something like that?
Yeah. No, it was like when you load it, when it changes, like, I don't know exactly. You remember the old pitch pipe in the school? The teacher blows it and then she moves up one notch on it?
Yes.
You remember when you were singing something? You used to sing God Bless America, that seems a long time. Anyway, I don't know exactly how long I was pretty scared for a couple of minutes. As a matter of fact, I was petrified. And so I moved my right foot, and everything seemed to work all right. And evidently he made the same decision that I did, was to get something between me and it, or us and it, or whatever you would say. So we both went to the car. We got in the car and we sat there. I wouldn't even venture if it was 10 seconds, 30 seconds, or 3 minutes. I just know we...
Okay, let's back to the top.
Right.
So where it's set in the east. So let's just say it was going east and set. How long did that take?
It just moved right up and stopped. It didn't go any distance. It wasn't 100, it wasn't 250 feet in front of the car. And everything was lit up. It was real bright. It was low. And at this time, if I had to describe it, I said it just looks like a 50 feet in front of the car. And everything was lit up. It was real bright. It was low. And at this time, if I had to describe it, I said it just looks like a... Hell, it was big as a house. This thing was no toy. This thing is, I mean, you don't look up and say, the guy pulls up and he says, from this pin, how much would you say it would travel? This thing is, big enough to cover the road. This is 224 from berm to berm. This thing was covered. It was, it was like looking down the middle of a hill or something for a minute. And it was very bright. It made your eyes water. And Schoenfeld came in, my sergeant, and he says, "Do you have a camera?" And I said, "No, sir, I don't have one." Or I don't think I said, "Sir." I said, "No, I don't," or something. And he said, "Can you follow it, or stay with it, or keep it under observation? We'll get a camera car there. We'll get somebody there with a photo unit. We'll photograph it so we can identify it." And so I said, 10-4, and we started moving up to it again, out behind it. We went to 183. We had to go direct south. When we turned south, it was right behind us then, right directly to the rear of the car when we were going south, right directly behind us. We got back to 224 and we turned left. This is right at that water. When we got there, they put it right straight out the left window of the car. Excuse me, almost due north of the car. At this time, it came straight south. Just one motion, really, just a smooth glide, went right to the south side of the highway, took off east again right with us, and we was pacing it right along the side. I don't know exactly what time it was, but we thought we were going to lose it. I know it was 20 or 25 seconds probably through this one thing there. We came back out, we could see it again, we went through this mass of turns, and at this point, it was just,
That's
I had a
right.
handful of cars.
That's where 51 hooks up with 59, and it's south of Rochester. Right next to the city limits. Might even be in the city limits. It's a bypass around the edge of town where you used to have to.
And see, he knew the roads. They were just giving me instructions. And I was driving at this time. And I thought we lost it. So we came out on 51. And when I first looked up in the mirror to make sure Wayne made that last turn because we had a power turn, break free and slide to it because otherwise we could get a power coming out. And just as I kicked in passenger and I felt my car crack, I looked up in the mirror to see Wayne and I seen the nose of his car go down and he says it stopped. And I looked right ahead of us and there it was. It came right over Route 51. It lost probably half its altitude. So help me God. And right now we're 51, waited as we came up to it, and right up to the left, and went right straight up about 500, 600, 700 feet, and took off again, right at the same pace.
So I wanted to raise, it didn't look like this. It raised straight up and then went up.
I never seen nothing like it in my life. The only other, they were trying to get Chippewa, very slow. When they finally got a radio operator away, we were out of our frequency range. We were like, there was no more cars. So we started again. By then, we were getting towards Freedom, and every time we'd hit a long curve or anything, I'd start picking up air. I was running out of gas. We got to Freedom, still right there. When we got tangled up, it just slowed down. We came out of the other end of Freedom, going out of Conway, which I guess that's starts in West Pittsburgh.
17 or 18 miles from downtown Pittsburgh when we stopped in Conway.
Yeah, I checked it out.
I saw this cruiser sitting at a filling station, and I told Wayne, I said, "There's another car." And I was already out of fuel anyway, and my tires were pretty well burned up, so I shot in his place, and we told him what was happening. He called his dispatcher. His dispatcher said he had the airport on the phone, which they say they didn't now. And they even gave us a phone number for me to call back, which they say we didn't, but I did. And I don't know who I talked to. I forgot the guy's name. I remember the last part of the number is 4000, I think, or 400 or something like that when we went to the police station. From that point, when we first got there, we watched this thing, or watched the room, the quarter room was here, and there was a, like where the man in the room would have been in a picture, years ago. There was one bright spot right off about where the nose would have been on the room. There was a bright spot that had been there. I don't know how long that bright spot had been there. It was quite a while. The one we were watching would have been, at this time, of course, that spot was awful small. It wasn't as big as this we were watching. And they were about the same. We watched them right through an antenna. 4 officers standing side by side. Watched an airliner come out of the airport, right underneath of it. He was talking on the radio. He told them that he thought, asked them about it. They had traffic on scrambling fighters to see if they could intercept it or identify it. When they started talking about fighter planes, we could see these planes coming in. Now, they said they weren't there, but so I had another hallucination. When they started talking about fighter planes, just as though that thing heard every word that was said, it went straight up. And I mean, when it went up, they didn't play no games, it went straight up.
There were no fighter planes in the sky.
There were no fighter planes.
Talked to the tower operator at the Greater Pittsburgh Airport.
Well, that's the one I called back. That's 4. I forget the number now. But I know there's three zeros in it. I don't remember what. Now, the radio traffic was about the airplanes. Now, the other airplanes was right in the area, and we watched that airliner go directly underneath us, all 4 of us. And all I got, I had the gun to look straight up, because it was sitting right on top of it. And we were right under it. And at this time, its altitude and its distance, and at this time it was as if you were looking at it compared to an object that you wanted to see. It was as big as a washtub then, even after it went up the first time, and we were standing right there watching.
People with the same respect for that speech.
I would, sir, and I am. I'll treat you with respect.
I'm not calling you a nut. I'm not saying you have a hallucination.
All right, the last 20 days. Anyway, this thing passes over another police car. He watches it go by, and he's following. Now, this is 2 cars fixed on Venus. So we're going down the road. And we get into Conway, Pennsylvania, and this thing passes over the 3rd car that's sitting there, not even on the same frequency. I never met, seen, spoke to before nor after this. Another officer. He's watching the same thing as it goes over top of him going towards Pittsburgh as we come screaming in. Now, we watched it. 4 men standing right there, 4 officers. You could probably, you see anything you want. He stood right there, watched it, watched the plane go underneath of it, and watched it make a vertical climb straight up. And this, sir, is my knowledge, is God's truth. Yes, sir. The only thing left to even look at, after we went to the station and called the guy, was the one bright spot that was there. The sun was up, coming up full, and the moon was fading out. There was about a quarter of the moon. Right straight off that moon, which would have been to the south of the moon if you were looking west, was one bright spot. I'd say it was probably looked like a pencil eraser, real bright.
That was the
mothership. Huh?
That was the mothership.
Oh, that was the mothership. And this... You guys go ahead and convince, please. I can get some tampons here. This thing would have been to the left or to the north of it, and we watched it, went up, stopped, the airliner went under it, and then it went straight up. Just as straight up as